Okay, welcome back to part 2 of the webinar. Let's get some feedback on that first activity. Okay, so I'm wondering whether you did any of this. Did you ask more questions? Did you have time to ask more questions when you found out what the answer was? Okay, so you could ask questions, WH questions, and that means that you get more answers and long answers from your colleagues. Oh, you like the activity. I'm glad you liked it, Clarice. We sometimes ask these call these extra questions follow-up questions. Okay, so a follow-up question is an extra question. So if someone says, where are you going on your walk today? Sorry, Elias, it's a shame you didn't have your microphone. If somebody says, where are you going on your walk today, Kristina? And I say, down to the river. Then they can ask another question. Yeah. Are you going to feed the birds? Yeah. We have a lot of nice birds living on the lake, and sometimes we take the bread, and throw it and put it in the river for the birds to catch and eat. That's quite fun. So that's an option we have. All right. So we can ask the students to ask more questions to find out more information. Okay. Sorry, that's going to come back one more time. And another question I have for you is, can you use this activity in class? I'm going to stop sharing so we can see each other properly. And if you want to stick a hand up so I know who wants to talk, it would be lovely, to get some feedback. Some people are saying in the chat, absolutely, sure, yes. Okay. Anyone want to make a comment or ask a question? Possible, yeah, you can use that one. Yeah, good. As a warmer, absolutely, yeah, practice. Sure. I think it's nice because it does practice grammar, but it does it in a way that's more personal. So instead of talking about some character in a book or on a worksheet who's not a real person, the students are talking about themselves. And when I give my examples, they are always real examples. I don't lie and tell the students something that's not real. It has to be real communication to make it work. Okay, so it's imaginative, it's real, and it practices grammar and speaking and fluency. Tic-tac-toe, yeah, that also works as a tic-tac-toe game. That would work beautifully. Very nice idea. Yeah. Good. All right, so we're going to move on so we can get to our next activity. Our next activity involves a picture. So don't write in the chat, please. Write on a piece of paper 1 or 2 questions that you could ask about this picture, please. You're going to use the questions in a breakout room activity. Okay, 1, 2, or 3 if you have time. I'll give you a minute or 2 to do that. Oh yes, Marcia has made a good point. We need everyone to put a name and surname. I did notice there are 1 or 2 people there was someone who was an iPhone. So if you're an iPhone, your name is iPhone, please add your surname. And Vanusa, Brenda, I'm not sure which groups you're in on Telegram, so it will be easier for us to keep the attendance if you could write your surnames. Okay. Okay, Chiara, you have a question?
Actually, I would say the feedback at the time, but that you asked, and I raised my hand, but you haven't seen, I think.
Sorry, I didn't see you. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I was about to say that I would use that activity with my students because it's very simple and the students can make the questions, they can create the questions, right? So I think that they could do it, and it's very funny to try to guess the answer to these questions. So that's it.
Good. I'm glad you liked it, Kara. That's wonderful. Thank you very much. I hope everyone has written, 1, 2, 3 questions about the picture. You might have questions like, for example, what is the girl in the pink dress? Yeah, the girl in the pink dress, or the man selling the newspapers. Yeah, or the man with the hat. Okay, so you may have some ways of describing which person you're talking about if you're asking questions about it. Okay, so it would be the man with the dog or with the hat. Okay, but the girl in pink t-shirt. Okay, if you're looking at prepositions. So now we're going to do a breakout room activity where, well, you have thought of the 3 questions already. I moved quickly through this. This is from New Cutting Edge. It's an elementary course book. And if you have your questions, we're going to go into breakout rooms. We're not going to give the time today because this is a long session. This is going to be a memory test. When you go into breakout rooms, can you remember the answers? Okay, to the questions that your friends ask. So I'm going to put you in rooms with 3 or 4 people. Let me just check the number of mentors in each room quickly before I send you away. Good, and I'm just going to move 1 person. So we have an even number of rooms. Excellent. So ask and answer the questions about the picture. Can you remember what it's about? All right, have fun, guys. I'm going to give you about 4 or 5 minutes for this, a bit quicker. Lovely. Everybody's coming back after the breakout rooms. All the rooms will be closed in 10 seconds. Now we can have a look at this activity. Wonderful. So I hope you had a chance to ask and answer your questions. Okay, and that you had a chance to speak English about that picture. So how was it? I'm curious about how the activity went. And I'm also curious, to be honest, can you use that activity in your class? You're welcome to unmute yourself or whatever. Yes, people liked it. Okay, any questions? Yes, it was a bit short time, I agree. I'm looking at the clock because there's another activity too. Yeah? Great. That picture is nice. I mean, it's an elementary course book, but you can use it with other levels too. Yeah, I think if your students find it hard to make the questions, you may need to do an activity like that. For example, in the first week, you do it with the students and you're all looking at the picture together, and you write the questions on the board, and they copy the questions, so they learn the grammar of the question. I can show you the picture again. Yeah, sure. I'll have to share a screen to do that. I'll be sending you the picture, so you don't need to worry. You'll get it. Okay, that's the picture. Yeah, yes, you can travel around Brazil. I agree. You can have all kinds of different pictures to use with this. So if I wanted to use a picture like this, I would probably try to find two pictures. The first one I would use for introducing the language and maybe practicing with the students. And then maybe 1 week later, I would bring the second picture and I would try to do it more like a pair work activity. Okay, so we need to support the students. If you give them an activity that they can't do, it's too difficult, then I have to think, okay, next time I have to teach something a little bit first and then I give the activity. It's up to you. Okay, any other questions or comments? So you're still checking, eh? Okay, so there's going to be loads and loads of wonderful pictures that you can use off the internet. Chiara, yes, Chiara has a question.
Another thing that I could do with this picture would be ask the students to describe the picture instead of making questions, because it may be easier.
Yes, the thing is, if I describe the picture, then it's not very communicative. Yeah, and I don't have any reason to listen. So I visit a lot of classes, and sometimes I see the teacher asking the students to speak English, but there's no communicative reason to speak English at that moment. So for example, there's a picture on the classroom wall and I ask the student to describe the picture. Okay, so one student is talking and I have a crowded class with 27 or 28 students. The other students don't have any reason to listen. Why should they listen to somebody else describing the picture? They can see the picture. Yeah, so that can be difficult to control. It's good to do it sometimes, but it's not going to make the students do interactive work. What will work is to describe the picture and make deliberate mistakes. Okay, so I go back one more time because people have been asking me questions about the picture. So I can ask the students, and I do this in my class, I ask them to, for example, put their hand up and correct me when I get it wrong. I say, I'm confused today. I don't understand. I left my glasses at home. I can't see anything. And I say, oh, yes, the man who's walking the cat, what color is his t-shirt? Okay, and then the students will stop me and they'll say, the man isn't walking a cat. You can't walk a cat. The man is walking a dog. Ah, yes, you're right. Very good. 5 points to that group. Okay, so I describe the picture, but I make mistakes. Now we have a reason to listen to what is being said. Okay, so that I think is an important issue. Now, someone asked a question about the cat and the dog. Yes, there must be a gap. I agree. There must be a gap in information. Otherwise, there's no reason to talk. So I'm not quite sure what you want to say about the dog and the cat. I mean, the dog is growling at the cat. I write that in the chat for you. The dog is growling. For example. Is that what you were looking for? I've forgotten who asked because it's way back up at the chat somewhere. So ask. Okay, the dog is fierce. Yes, that's wonderful. Is the dog mad with the cat? Yes, I think so. Is the cat scared of the dog? I think so. So you have a lot of options, a kind of freer practice activity, right? The dog mad, yeah, that works. Good. I think everyone agrees we could do this. And it's true, Chiara, everyone has a different view of the picture. Everyone is seeing something different and describing it. And yes, you could make a true-false activity. If you make a true-false activity, then it's not going to be questions. Then you're asking just sentences. Okay, so the man in brown is selling flowers. Then we're making a sentence. That also works. Okay, but it's just a different kind of grammar structure that you're going to get when you do that. Very nice. So I'm going to pause the recording here, and then we'll come back for the third activity.